Good morning, class. Happy Friday, as I would say if we were at school. Today is Friday, March 27th, 2020. Today we are going to review our answers to our distance learning packet, pages 9 and 15. We're going to work on some more figurative language practice, and we're also going to do some more of the distance learning packet, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is take out your distance learning packet for pages 9 to 15, which was part of your homework from Wednesday. This one right here, if you didn't pick it up, you can access it online with the link that I gave you this week. All right, I'm gonna start with page 9. We're gonna go through as if we were in class and reviewing this together, okay? One by one. All right, page 9. The introduction gives us a review of active voice versus passive voice. Now, I always tell you, which voice do I want you to write in? Active voice. So, to determine if a sentence is written in active voice or passive voice, the first thing that we should always do is identify the verb of the sentence and then mark it V. And then we have to ask ourselves, who is doing the action? Who is performing the verb? Who is performing the action? That will give us our subject, which is our S. And if it's SV, subject verb, it is active voice. If it's VS, verb subject, or just V, the verb, then it is passive voice, okay? So for number 1 through 8, the directions are: underline the simple sentence in each. Underline the simple subject in each sentence. Then write A for active or P for passive to identify the voice of each sentence. Okay, don't underline the subject. That's just confusing. Go ahead and always underline your verb first. You need to know what the action is before you can determine who's performing that action in order to determine if it's active or passive voice, okay? So number 1, please follow along with me, read along with me. Maddie is considered one of the best writers in school. The verb that I chose was is considered. I underlined that as my verb. Who is doing the considering? Who's considering? I don't see that answer in there. So to me, there's only a verb, which makes it a passive sentence. So your answer should have been P for passive. Number 2. She writes amazing articles for the school newspaper. My verb is writes. And who is performing the action? Who's doing the writing? She. So SB is active. A for active should have been your answer. Number 3. Read with me, please. Her report on ways to reduce waste in the cafeteria was chosen as Article of the Year. The verb that I chose, was chosen. That's the verb. Who did the choosing? No one. So there's no subject. If there's a verb only, your answer should be P for passive. Number 4. This year's spring play was also written by Maddie. The verb was written. Who did the writing? Maddie. She's our subject. So we have VS, which is passive. P for passive. Number 5. The 8th grader even excels in math and science. The verb should be excels. What's the subject? 8th grader. SV, subject verb. What type of sentence? Active. A for active. All right, number 6. Last year, she received a chance to go to science camp in Washington, D.C. Your verb is received. Your subject is she. SV, what type of sentence? Active. Number 7, camp applications were distributed to all students. The verb is were distributed. Who did the distributing? It doesn't say, so we don't have a subject. If there's a sentence with just the verb and no subject, you know it is passive voice. P for passive. Last one, number 8. Many students took advantage of the opportunity and applied. Your verb is took. Your subject is students. SV equals active. All right, how'd you do? 1 through 8. Hopefully you got all 8. Hopefully you got 7 out of 8. Hopefully you got a majority of it. I wouldn't know. Okay, so if you didn't do it or you got it wrong, go ahead and correct it now. That way when this is all said and done and we go back to school, you'll hand it in to me with the correct answers. All right, next page. Number 10. Oh, I'm sorry. Page number 10. The directions are, for numbers 1 and 2, which is the best way to change the voice in each sentence from an active to passive without changing the meaning? That's the key here. Number 1, your answer should have been B. 3 students were chosen by the committee to attend science camp. Number 2, your answer should have been D. The students were sent a letter of acceptance by the science camp. All right, number 3 and 4, similar, but we're swapping. We want to go from passive to active without changing the meaning of the sentence. Number 3, your answer should have been A. More students applied to music camp than to drama camp this year. And number 4, your answer should be C. Everyone likes Maddie, a smart and friendly girl. If you get any of that wrong or confused by it, please leave me a comment. Please send me an email, send me a text so I can go over it with you and in more detail. All right, let's turn to page 11. This is all about using context clues. We do this a lot during daily language. Oh, that's a good thing for you guys about this quarantine, right? You don't have to do daily language. Hopefully that changes because we go back to school soon and we can resume doing the daily language. All right, for number 11, underline the context clue that can help you figure out the meaning of each underlined word or phrase. Write the meaning on a separate piece of paper. As I was doing it, I realized you didn't need to write the meaning on a separate piece of paper. By underlining the context clues, you already kind of defined the word. Tell me if I'm wrong. All right, I'm going to read the paragraph with you. So please read along. I know I'm not there to enforce it, but it'd be nice if you read along with me. Before they strike land, tornadoes can often be detected by Doppler radar, an electronic system that measures wind speeds. A tornado begins when a wind system forms a huge vortex. This formation is similar to water swirling toward a drain. This condition may trigger multiple tornadoes, which may occur simultaneously or one after the other. Whereas many regions are fairly safe from tornadoes, others are susceptible to them. Communities in tornado-prone areas try to mitigate their risk. For instance, they establish public warning systems. All right, the first term is Doppler radar. What I underline as a context clue is electronic system that measures wind speeds. Yeah? Next, we have vortex. So I underlined 2 clues for this. I underlined tornado, and then I also underlined water swirling. The next term we have simultaneously. I underlined one after the other, which is the actual definition. The next term is susceptible. So what I did is I underlined fairly safe as my clue, And when I read it, I just knew that susceptible meant that they weren't safe. It was the opposite of it, right? Like finding the opposites can also be a context clue when you're trying to figure out the definition of a word. Last, we have mitigate. I underlined risk, and I also underlined the example they gave us, which is to establish public warning systems. By underlining those clues, I figured out that mitigate is similar to preparing for. All right, let's go to the next page, number 12. For numbers 1 to 4, use context clues to answer the questions about each paragraph. All right, number 1. What does the word velocity mean in the paragraph? I chose C, swiftness. Number 2, what does the word catastrophic mean in the paragraph? I chose C, tragic, because it talked about people dying. Tragic. All right, number 3 and 4 has to do with the next paragraph and the word accommodate. What does the word accommodate mean? I chose A, to provide with something needed. And then 4, what words from the paragraph helped me figure out that meaning? And I chose D, set up shelters for those who lost homes. All right, so how'd you do? 4 out of 4, I'm assuming. All right, next page. The next lesson was about determining a theme. And I want to remind you that themes are messages that the author wants to convey to you. What is the lesson that the author is trying to teach you through his or her story? Remember, a theme is not specific. It's something that's general. It's a lesson that we can use in our everyday lives. That's what makes it a theme, okay? Do not give me a summary of what the characters learn. No, that's too specific. A theme needs to be general. So, I am going to read the story on page 14 with you. So please read with me. Holden and Pops. When you're at your grandfather's after school, be sure to do something other than sit by yourself playing video games, Holden. I know, Mom, but what else is there to do? Whined Holden, watching cereal bowls. Have you ever tried to show him one of your games? At least you'd be doing something together, Mom suggested. Oh, Pops wouldn't be interested, Holden shrugged as they headed out to the car. Plus, he'd never catch on. You know how he is about big, scary technology. As Holden got out of the car, Mom tried once more. You know, Pops might surprise you. Keep your options open. You might even ask him about big, scary technology sometime. Holden puzzled over her words on the way into school. All right, so the directions. In most stories, authors do not state a theme directly. To figure out an author's message, you need to look for key details and see how they develop over the course of the text. Identify key details about each character's attitude and opinions, then complete the chart below. There's only one answer. Easy. So, the way I did this is that I looked at the answer for Mom first, right? So the character is the mom, and the comment that she made was suggesting that Pops might be interested in video games and knowing something about technology. That led to the answer of her attitude that she seems to feel like Pops is more interesting than Holden thinks. So I went backwards. I went to Holden. His comments about Pops were that he said that Pops wouldn't be interested in games and he thinks technology is scary. So the attitude I got from Holden, or the impression that I got, is that Holden kind of thinks Pops is boring. That's what I wrote. Holden thinks Pops is boring. If you have something similar to that, good. All right, next page, number 15. We're going to continue the story, right? That afternoon, Holden sat hunkered over his video game controller, making vintage airplanes swoop across his screen. What you doing, son? Pops asked. Just a game, Holden answered distractedly. Then, remembering Mom's advice, he made himself ask, Want to see? Pop settled next to Holden and immediately exclaimed, "Say, is that plane a Tomahawk? You know, she can go up to 20,000 feet to evade that enemy fighter." Holden pivoted to gape in shock. Pop shrugged and said, "Didn't I ever tell you about the Tomahawk I flew in 41? Circle the correct answer. Which statement best expresses the theme of the story? All right, this is how you do it. You go through each one, read your options on a test. This is what you would do. A, strong family bonds can develop only through shared interests. That's not the answer because that's not true. Like, what kind of lesson would you got to think? A theme is a lesson the author wants us to learn. So why would the author want us to learn that we can only have strong bonds if we like the same things? That doesn't sound like a noble theme, right? So that automatically is out. That's not the answer. B, people from different generations have little in common. It sounds like it's general enough. It sounds like it's kind of true, but in this story, no. Because Pops and Holden ended up bonding over the Tomahawk. So, not true. C, children should always listen to advice from their parents. Maybe. Sounds like it could be a correct answer. And then we have D, assuming things about people may stop us from really knowing them. Again, possible. So out of C and D, what do you think it is? I chose D. I chose D because it's more of a lesson. That's why I felt like it was a better theme. And I chose that because the story started off with the mom, right? Holden's mom saying, like, don't just play games, try to talk to your grandfather. You know, you guys might have shared interests. And Holden the whole time just like, no, basically thought that grandpa was boring. He wouldn't be interested in anything he's doing. He took his mom's advice and come to find out he made the wrong assumption because grandpa does share that interest with him. That's why I chose D as a theme. All right, so how'd you guys do? Hopefully you have practiced from Study Island regarding theme. Hopefully this is our review. Theme is one of those standards that you guys have learned since you guys were young and you guys have worked on every single year in English class. So hopefully this is just all a review. Okay? All right, I'm pulling up Google Classroom for today. We just finished our review. Your other assignments for today. You are going to complete the attached figurative language review assignment. All right, it is attached. Go ahead and open it. There are 3 pages total, so please make sure you answer all 3. There are 24 questions, you know, for Kobe. The first part, you are going to match each type of figurative language with the correct example. That's from 1 through 12. For 13 and 14, there are going to be 2 answers for each one. So choose 2 that fits because sentences, examples can be more than one type of figurative language, as you may have already figured in your music hunt. Then from 15 and on, it is all about the meaning of the idioms. Remember, an idiom is a phrase that doesn't have its literal meaning. It's just one of those things that we know through our experience, through our language, through our culture. So tell me the meaning of it. And if it's something you haven't heard of, you're going to use context clues, something we just practiced, to figure out the answer. Let me see what else. I'm sorry. What else do we have today? When you are done with that, this assignment, by the way, is due tomorrow at 11:59. When you submit it, you can leave a comment to me. Can you please just drop me a comment? I want to hear from you guys. It's so weird talking to myself in this camera. It's weird not looking out and seeing your faces. I just really miss you guys. I want to interact. I want to know what's going on. Drop me a comment. Tell me how you're doing. Maybe send me a picture, send me a video clip, little recap of what you've been doing. Maybe tell me a funny story from over break or from this week. I don't know. Just let me hear from you guys by dropping a comment on your assignment, please. Then the other assignment that you have to do is your distance learning packet, pages 16 through 30. This is due on Sunday at 11:59 because Monday, which is your next lesson, we will be reviewing the answers, going over more lessons, and preparing for the next packet. Remember, because these packets are weekly, okay? You'll have a new one next week. Let me make sure I did not forget anything. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Okay, I figured it out. Open up your figurative language review assignment. I forgot to go over the word symbol, what type of figurative language it is. Okay. A symbol is, I didn't include it into the notes because I thought it was self-explanatory. I thought it was obvious. We use symbols to represent something else, right? When I am going through and grading your work, a check mark usually symbolizes that I've checked it, that it's done, I've reviewed it, that it's complete, right? That's a symbol. You will also have symbolism or symbols in figurative language is when something symbolizes or stands for something else. I know the definition is confusing, maybe, but it's pretty self-explanatory. If that's confusing to you, what I would do is I would find the answers for metaphor, simile, personification, hyperbole, idiom first, because those you have the definitions to. Figure that out first, and what's left should be symbol. And hopefully, when you see the answer for a symbol, it makes sense. A symbol represents something else, takes the place of it, okay? That's what I wanted to tell you. All right, guys, that is it for today. Get the work done. I hope you have a good weekend. Try to have as normal of a weekend as possible. Try to go outside, take a walk outside, play basketball, jump rope, do whatever outside. Try to get some fresh air, okay? I will see you on Monday. Bye.